The narrative is the storyline. It's the backstory on life and the world. It's what we all have to have about our history, about our past, in order to understand where we are and who we are. So we build our ideas of ourselves on this idea of where we come from. And the truth is, the idea of where we come from is really crafted by others, not ourselves. And we just simply accept it, or we deny it. Most accept it, very few deny it. Those that actually question it typically come out somewhere better off than where the rest of them end up. So we're starting to question and recognize that there are narratives running, that there are these artificial storylines that deeply impact our lives and the way that we live life and the way that we communicate with people and the way that we interact with our friends, the way that we experience our time at work, the things we do for fun, the ways we entertain ourselves, the fact that we even seek entertainment at all. All of these things are related to the narrative. Or, well, okay, when I say the narrative, I'm referring primarily to the main overarching narrative that society is pressured into subscribing to. They're pressured from politicians, they're pressured from media, they're pressured mostly through the shows that they watch and the sense of normalcy that is displayed in those shows. Whatever is accepted as normal in the shows that you watch is what you begin to accept as normal. So normal for you becomes defined by the normal of the shows that you watch. Because if you're not taking in reality in the hours of your life and of your day, you're taking in a non-reality. Well, you're taking in information either way, and that information is used by your brain whether you realize it or not. Your brain seeks out information about the world around it, and if the only information you feed it is information about a false world, you're not going to have the right ideas about the world that you live in. It's pretty simple. But the media has the strongest influence on the narrative. They set the stage for what is normal by what they choose to allow on television and what they choose not to allow on television. The words that we allow ourselves to curse with are predefined by what's allowed on television. I think it's funny that now they allow the word fuck and the word shit and the word damn, when years ago they didn't, and you didn't hear them as much in public. But now that they allow them, you hear them all the time. They're normalized, and that's why. Because TV is where normal comes from. The media is where normal comes from. Because that has become central in our lives. We spend more time engaged in media than we spend engaged in reality. If we spent more time engaged in reality, the media would have far less power in our lives, simply by process of elimination. I mean, if you don't give them the time, they can't influence you. And so that's pretty much it. I mean, if you want to stay grounded in reality, you have to choose to stay grounded in reality. Now there's the question of reality sucking. A lot of people think that reality sucks. Reality is completely subjective. There is no objective reality, first and foremost. There's no one way that the world is. The world is not any one way. The world doesn't exist. The world is unique to each and every person. Everybody experiences it wholly differently than everyone else. So no two people live in the same world. Occasionally, you'll get two people that will live in the same world when they're married for a long time, or they spend a lot of time together, or they're very, very close. They might live and share the same world. But most people don't share the same world. They live in their own world. What world you entertain is the world that you belong to. Or rather, the world that you choose to entertain yourself with is the world that you belong to. We must be careful about the narratives that we subscribe to. We have to investigate them closely before we begin subscribing to them, because there's oftentimes hidden details about this narrative that are harmful or are misleading or deceptive. It takes discernment to find those pieces, identify them, and pull them out of your way of thinking, your way of living. You have to really be able to analyze yourself and look at yourself and think about yourself. You can't have that eye looking outward all the time. You have to turn the eye inward at least half of the time. If you're not spending half of your time reflecting on yourself, you're not living in a way that is balanced or healthy for you, you're not going to have success in the places that you want to have success or in the things that you're doing. Things are not going to work out for you.